In the late 1950s, the United States government became concerned that Americans were behind in the fields of math and science after the Russians released the first artificial satellite, Sputnik. The US government felt it was a national security issue and that education reform was the answer. So, in 1958, the National Defense Act backed a major push in math and science education in American schools. The range and scope of American ingenuity in the decades following the reform were not a random coincidence. The level of technological advances and creative thinking boomed as dreamers were allowed to dream and change the world. Since the early 2000s, education reform has not made much progress. There has been such a narrow focus on test scores and drilling in math and reading that creativity has been put on the back burner for far too long. Now, more than ever, we need to look ahead and prepare students for jobs that do not even exist yet. The majority of employers in the STEM fields are more interested in soft skills such as the ability to communicate and collaborate with a team than they are in the hard skills themselves. Most of all, they want to invest in creative thinkers who have transportable skills such as critical thinking and problem solving. This is why there needs to be a shift in allowing time and space for children to develop their creativity in school. Say we gave you a simple paper cup and asked you how many things you could come up with as a use for the cup other than its original intended function. This seed for creative thinking is a foundational skill set for science, technology, engineering, and math. The possibilities are endless. When someone comes to you and says, do STEM, or want to include the arts and do STEAM, what does that mean? And what does it look like? You can't just go ahead and do STEM or do STEAM without understanding what it is. Yes, one does eventually need to be able to apply mathematical functions and formulas and have a general understanding of science if they are in the professional STEM fields. However, if the passion for STEM is fostered early on in a setting where children are allowed to imagine and play, then the interest in the STEM fields will grow exponentially. There are so many tech companies that are willing to train students to work with them even before these students graduate high school. The average entry-level position in STEM fields currently pays more than $60,000 a year. Students with an interest in STEM are given a golden ticket to a better life based on what they can create. As educators, we need to be brave and disrupt the norm. And like anything successful, it is okay to start small. Doing small things well leads to doing big things better. Every classroom can make time for creative thinking. We can do project-based learning where cross-curricular is a norm. Classrooms can have their own makerspaces where students are allowed to think, tinker, and create. Novel engineering is a wonderful way to engage students and create solutions to real-world problems. Having a genius hour, an hour of code, all these things will allow students to be a step ahead by learning coding languages needed for a future workforce. Imagine creating an arcade or a city completely out of cardboard and found materials, then inviting the public to come interact with the student showcase. We can keep talking about teaching for the future, but guess what? The future is already here. It's time for us to get with the program and walk the walk. Let's be creators. Let's be makers. Let's advocate for STEM. I'm ready. Are you?